Welcome back, everyone. I am Dr. Brenda Whitehead, host of the Prof Chat channel, where we are all about maximizing college and minimizing stress. This video is part 2 in a 3-part series where we're addressing the question, how do we get good recommendation letters? So in the last video, we talked about why recommendation letters are so important and 5 strategies for cultivating those connections with profs that will help them write strong recommendation letters for you. In this video, it's all about the strategy, how to decide who to ask. Now, there are 3 guiding questions to help you put together the best recommendation letter puzzle. First, what are the letter readers looking for? Second, what can each letter communicate about you? And third, who can write these letters? So if you want to follow along and do these exercises using a worksheet that I put together, you can access that using the link right below this video. First question, what are your letter readers looking for? You need to think strategically about what the person reading your letter will be looking for. So if it's a scholarship or a grad school application, they will likely be more interested in the academic side of things. Things like grades, extracurricular involvement, competitive honors, demonstrated progress. If it's a job or internship, maybe they place a bit more emphasis on things like work ethic, leadership ability, teamwork, dependability. Of course, there's always going to be overlap. Academics alone is not enough for grad school, and being really dependable with really poor academic grades could mean a no-go for a job. So really examine that job ad or program description. Once you've identified the characteristics that your letter readers will be looking for, then you need to ask question number 2, which is, what can each letter communicate about you? It's essential that your letters as a group highlight the many positive dimensions of you and present a well-rounded, unique person. So you want your letter readers to see you as somebody who can bring something to the job or to the program that no one else can. So plan out your ideal letter puzzle. What do you want each letter to communicate about you? So think about certain skills, personal abilities, experiences, or accomplishments that the letter readers might find compelling. For example, for grad schools in psych, it's often helpful to have a letter that really highlights the academic side of things, a letter that really speaks to your excellence in research or in going the extra mile, something outside of the classroom, and a letter that speaks especially well to your personal attributes, your leadership ability, your excellent personability, your work ethic, your empathy or compassion, maybe your professional passion or drive. Again, these are emphases of these different letters, not isolated topics. So even in your academic letter, for example, you want the letter to also note the positive characteristics that make you you. It just may not devote as much space to that piece as it does to the academic side of things. Okay. This brings us to question number 3, who can actually write these letters? So now that you've planned out your rec letter puzzle, it's time to brainstorm who is able to write the letters, emphasizing those things that you want communicated. So if we're looking for a letter really highlighting the academic side of things, we will probably want to ask somebody who we've had multiple classes with, who maybe we've had an in-depth seminar with, maybe somebody who has asked to use our work as an example for other students. Basically, any prof who you formed a memorable academic connection with is somebody you might list for this particular piece. On the other hand, if we need a letter to speak to our leadership skills or work ethic, maybe we list the club advisor who has seen us organize a fundraising event, or the coach who can speak to our dedication and team mentorship. Of course, profs who can speak strongly to multiple areas are ideal. Even then, though, really try to identify which piece would be their primary puzzle category. Now, ideally, you have at least 2 names down for each main puzzle piece that you identified, because the reality is people can and sometimes do say no. So you don't want to be really counting on one particular person. You want to make sure you have a couple of options who can speak to the different puzzle pieces that you want communicated to those letter readers. And that brings us to the third and final video in this mini series on recommendation letters, how to actually do the asking. So I'll see you over there in video number 3.